Hi, what I'd like to show you today is what does the real-time oil sample data look like when it comes into FluidLife's myLab web application. There's two places where you're going to be able to find this data. One is by going through the traditional browse samples. So this is the same pathway used for when trying to track down your laboratory oil analysis results. If I bring up a particular component, you'll see what you're used to, our overall sample rank combined with oil analysis histories. Scrolling across to the far right-hand side, we begin to see some other telematics parameters that are coming off the engine ECUs and so on. Coming all the way to the far right, we begin to see the sensor data. So what you're seeing here is information from a sensor. In this case, it's going to be the ferrous debris or the wear debris sensor. These values have been summarized. One of the big problems is how do you compare data, from per minute data to the once every 250 hour oil sample data. So by summarizing the data that between those two timelines, the last sample and the current sample, gives us an idea of the overall average value. So what you're seeing displayed here is that average value. If I do hover over the average value, it shows me the trend as well as the average and the minimum maximum for that particular parameter from that sensor over that time frame. In this case, I think the time frame is about 8 days. So I can see what that trend at a quick glance has been doing. If I would like to dive further into this, I can in my top trends analysis area by coming into top trends and scrolling down and finding the ferrous debris information. So we have our ferrous, non-ferrous. By grabbing one of these values, I can then see what the traditional distribution plot for that particular point might be and what my sensor or what that value from that sensor has done over time. I can click on the graph and I can zoom in on certain timelines, and I can get right down to the per minute data utilizing this screen if I do so choose. Now, another way to get into this same information is, we'll just start at the beginning again, is by coming in through the equipment telemetry side. So if I click on my new enabled equipment telemetry area, and let's just track down that same unit, what I'm going to be brought to is the unit telemetry page. Now this page has a lot of things happening. So what I'll try to do is just demonstrate the actual sensor data. The other things that it does, obviously we're going to have the site map with the GPS and current location of the unit. Here I can get a breakdown of the different things that unit was doing over this timeline, which defaults to a single 24-hour period. Coming down, I can pick the signals from the sensor that I have installed, again, being the wear debris sensor. Over here, I also have some of the component alarms. So these are alarms that have happened on this unit over this time frame. So if I click on one of the parameters, I can bring what these values have done and what they look like or how they've changed over this 24-hour period, and I can dive in a little bit further on those if there's a point or an area that I'm concerned with. So where I see this peak here, I'm actually able to just click, drag over, zoom in on that timeline, and I can even zoom in just a little bit further if I want. In doing so, now I can see, again, the GPS location just over that timeline. Where was this unit? What was it doing? And I can progress that. I can zoom into the map if I want. Another thing that I can do is I can click on the component alarms down here. I can say, give me this particular component alarm. What it's done is it's identified that this alarm was driven from these parameters that it automatically selects and highlights and brings them all into view. I can also see the individual test rank scores of each of these parameters down here. And again, what it does, it brings me to the point in time on the map, the second at which this actually took place. Doing the same things again, you're in a position where you can zoom in, isolate that time frame on the map, zoom in, play it forward in the same way. And that's the two different ways that you can get into the sensor information, the two different displays, one by way of the samples and another by way of the unit telemetry page. Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much.